Well, the presidential candidates give lots of interviews, of course, but they think long and hard before they put themselves in the no-spin zone with Bill O'Reilly. Check out this instant replay. It was a really great interview last night. Take a look.
I wouldn't expect anything less than a fair and balanced coverage of my campaign.
Now, I know you're being a little... Yeah, but really, aren't you surprised?
Well, I have, look, I am not a pundit or a commentator.
But
I will leave that to you.
All right, we clipped the top of that, but Bill, he looked at her and he said, are you surprised that you've gotten more fair and balanced coverage on Fox News than you have at other places? And that was her answer. So let's see what our A-list has to say about this. Bernard Whitman is a Democratic strategist. Angela McGlowan is a Republican strategist and a Fox News political analyst. She's in Washington today. Arthur Aidala is a Fox News legal analyst, and he's here too. And we also have Kimberly Guilfoyle, who, of course, is the host of the lineup. So welcome, everybody. Bernard, this is your first time with us, I believe. So welcome back.
Thank you.
Or welcome to this show. What did you think of her response to that question?
Oh, I thought that she made a great point, and this shows her toughness. Everybody agrees that Hillary Clinton is one tough character, and while she remains a very polarizing figure, she is seen as both more in touch than Barack Obama and also more arrogant. But one thing everybody agrees with is she's tough, she can take down Bill O'Reilly, and that's why I think that there's a decent chance she'll ultimately be the nominee and win in November.
Let me go to Angela. Angela, what did you think about the, sort of where she gets a fair shake and how the interview went last night?
I thought personally that the interview went very well. I thought we saw a softer, nicer type of Hillary. However, I was polling people on Capitol Hill, and some folks thought that Bill, and I think that Bill did a great interview, but some people thought that he should have been harsher and harder on her. So I've gotten mixed messages down here, but I thought it was a really good interview.
I don't think anybody's going to be 100% satisfied when you poll the folks on Capitol Hill. I thought, Kimberly, from your own experience interviewing people, I liked the dynamic of it because it was like right back and forth. It felt like a conversation.
Yes.
It felt like two smart people sort of having it out over some very important issues. And we're going to see the second part of it tonight, which I want to take a look at. But let's take a look at another soundbite from last night, and we'll get Kimberly's thoughts on it.
We're not going to be sitting idly by, acting, like we can just get away with this. We got to change the way we behave, the way we drive. We have not paid attention for more than 35 years as to what's been happening to us.
And I'm with you 100%.
All right, now the big issue here is one of great interest to me, and it was about energy. Basically, in this one, though, I thought Hillary blamed us. We haven't changed our behavior, we haven't changed the way we do things. I mean, what about, which Bill O'Reilly brought up, the possibilities of more drilling in ANWR, of nuclear options of oil, and that, I think, Angela, is a really, significant issue that, I'd like to hear more from her on.
Martha, listen, being on Capitol Hill, there have been so many wonderful proposals from ANWR, from alternative fuel sources and tax credits, and the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid, they've not let those policies through. So she's playing hypocrisy there. It's not our fault. We've had Republicans on Capitol Hill putting out good policies, but they can't vote on them.
Yeah, I don't understand why nothing gets done on this issue. Let's look at one more, and then I promise I'm going to go to Kimberly right after that. Let's take a look.
You're going to raise taxes on the wealthy, and that's income redistribution. You know what that is. And income redistribution is why some conservatives don't like you. All right? It's because you take from the wealthy and you give to the less affluent. That's socialism. That has a socialist component.
No, it isn't.
Sure it is. Kimberly?
So she's trying to portray her sort of as a Robin Hood of some sorts. I think Hillary did very well during this interview. I think she wasn't as strong on energy as she could have been. But the fact that she stood up to somebody who is the master in this business, Bill O'Reilly, I think shows that she's tough, that she's formidable. She needs this going into the next primaries. I think it's a really good move that she did this. And I think it also encourages other people to sit down with Mr. O'Reilly, which is good.
Let's take a look at one more, and then we'll hear from Arthur.
Iran, I believe, is the most dangerous country vis-a-vis the United States. Do you believe that?
I believe it's one of the dangers, but I think it's a significant danger. And
but it's not the most.
Well, I think it is in combination with the other threats we face. Because clearly, if Iran were to ever obtain a nuclear weapon, that would be unbelievably bad for us and the world. And I'm going to do everything I can to prevent that from ever happening.
Well, I hope so.
All right, he says he hopes so. That is actually that was a sneak peek. I'm very interested in what we're going to see tonight because we're going to hear Hillary Clinton on foreign policy, talking with Bill O'Reilly about terrorism and the like. Arthur, when you look at the whole race right now, what does she gain? Obviously, she made a strategic decision to sit down with him last night. Where is she in all of this, and what does she gain, Arthur?
I think she gains a lot because Bill obviously, in my opinion anyway, inappropriately so, is viewed as like the enemy, the big, he's Darth Vader. And she sat there with him, poised, appropriate. Look, Hillary's got thick skin. Let's not forget what she's been through personally and professionally. And she handled him, I mean, it was, I don't want to use the word boring, but you're used to Bill and Geraldo screaming and yelling at each other and fighting. And this was, they were two professionals doing what they do, and they both did it very, very well. And I think it shows the nation she can handle almost anything that gets thrown at her.
And he did ask her tough questions. Yeah. If he was harder on her, people would have been very angry. You're bullying a woman, you're doing this, you're doing... I think it was handled perfectly. The right tone, and people were able to listen and learn something and see something.
It was a very professional.
It didn't sound like canned sound bites from her. You know, oh, this is my answer on this. It was a very dynamic back and forth, which is what I really liked about it. And I thought that Bill's, is so excellent at doing that.
Really good exchange.
The more and more people can see Hillary Clinton as a real human being, unscripted, relaxed, being genuine, which is really how she is, I think that helps people get more comfortable with her. And I think the big mistake in the election...
Real quick, Angela.
Listen, Kerry would not do an interview with Bill O'Reilly in 2004, and you see what happened. Maybe this might help Hillary win the nomination. You never know.
There's no doubt in my mind she got up out of that chair and felt good.
Yeah,
I'm sure she did. All right, let's go to this. It's just crossing the urgent wires, which is... to the discussion in some ways. Northwestern University, in Chicago, now saying that they will no longer offer Reverend Wright an honorary degree. Now, they had extended that invitation to him for an honorary degree from Northwestern earlier this year. The award was to be given at the university commencement, which is coming up, and the school now says they don't want the controversy surrounding Reverend Wright to overshadow the graduates' celebration. So that has to be a bit of a disappointment for him in terms of the general response that he's starting to get from some of the comments that he made this week and the repercussions for those statements. So that's interesting from Northwestern today. All right, let's get back to the race for the White House, shall we? And the Democratic primary, which is fascinating today. And some new results in the new Fox News polls. Democrats were asked, who is more honest and trustworthy? Okay, Hillary Clinton got a 69% yes, and Barack Obama got a 66% yes. And looking at the word that best describes these candidates, this is also very interesting. Hillary Clinton beats Barack Obama on all of these measures. Who's tougher? She gets 61%. He gets 23%. Who's more in touch? She's 45 to his 35. Who's more arrogant? She's 44 to his 27. But he won in the humble category. Always a biggie for presidents. Let's see what our A-list has to say about this. I'm not going to feel too good about this if I'm Barack Obama and I look at these numbers. I think, well, it's good to be humble, and maybe we need a little more of that in our lives, but not a great presidential characteristic when you stack up against the others, is it?
No, it's not. And we're seeing the effect of the Wright controversy. We're seeing the effect of Hillary's big win in Pennsylvania coming after Texas and Ohio. And I think her numbers on honest are actually really high. And the fact that she's tough has really been something that has been reinforced in the past couple of weeks.
Angela, it's very interesting to me. The honest and trustworthy issue for the Clintons over the years has been a problematic area, okay? But now she is ahead of Barack Obama when asked who's more honest and more trustworthy.
Martha, here's the rub. I believe that Reverend Wright is going to be the Willie Horton that was to Dukakis and the swift vote vets to Kerry to Obama. When Obama came out and said that Reverend Wright didn't care anything about his campaign, when Obama came out earlier and said that he wasn't going to denounce Reverend Wright and said he was like his uncle, it really makes him look bad.
But Angela, let me ask you this, because I'm finding this so fascinating. At the same time as you have the dynamic that you're discussing, you've got superdelegates creeping towards Barack Obama, and the word on the Hill is that many more of them are still to come, and they're going to decide this election. So my question is, are we going to end up with a Democratic candidate who, has sort of wrested the most superdelegates, but who the public is starting to have some concerns about?
At the end of the day, the superdelegates are going to go with who their constituents voted for and who people think is popular. And right now, I think the Reverend Wright ordeal is hurting Obama. But at the end of the day, when you poll people, people still like Obama. He's talking about change. He's talking about many things. And when you look at the policies, they're similar, but the personalities aren't. So I think Hillary's having some popularity right now, but I think it's going to pull back.
Kimberly?
Hillary's basically doing a lot of damage along with Reverend Wright to Obama, and his candidacy is going to be weakened going into the general election, assuming he even prevails and is the nominee, because of all of these things happening. Now he gets, okay, he's the most humble. Great, Obama, if you're running for Miss Congeniality. I mean, that doesn't sound very presidential at all, and I'm concerned.
All right, let's take a look at this ad in North Carolina. This is Governor Easley, who's being used to help Hillary in North Carolina, where she's been way behind, but those numbers have tightened a little bit. Let's take a look at this new ad.